Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Silent Hill. We're doing a Silent Hill series tier list. Yeah, I had to squeeze a couple games in here because Silent Hill series, it has a good amount, but not as much as it should. And we could talk about whether these games are good or bad or whatever. But the Silent Hill series definitely deserves a tier list from me. And we're going to start with the first game in the series. So Silent Hill Part 1. I remember playing this back in the day on a demo disc, the PlayStation magazine disc. I think it was issue number 6. I can't remember. But anyways, we played that, and it terrified me. It let you play 2 scenarios. I think it was one was the beginning, and there was another one at the school. So you get like an example of how the school played, and that was terrifying. And when the game finally released, I played it, and I was not disappointed. I was very scared in that game because Silent Hill, one thing it does bring to you is it's just the sense of fear and just like unnervingness. Like it's just everything in that game is creepy. It's like the game is cursed, and I feel like it is. Harry Mason, he's there to go on vacation for whatever reason, and his daughter ends up missing. You have to rescue her. The first part of the game, when you're running down the alley and it changes that crazy camera angle, I love that part. The school was terrifying, and just getting to the ending was insane. I got the worst ending the first time I played the game, which you don't know how to get the best ending. It's kind of difficult. But I had to play through it again, which I dreaded. But the second playthrough was a lot better. So Silent Hill, gosh, guys, it's got to go in the essential list. You got to play Silent Hill Part 1. There's just no ifs about it. Like, it is the scariest Silent Hill game to this date still. I still don't like playing the game anymore. I played it enough back in the day. I don't need to play it anymore. You know, it's just that terrifying. You know, like monsters coming after you, the bell ringing. Like, well, not the bell, but the radio sounds like a school bell. It's just so annoying. Like, ugh. But it's a really good game. But just be ready to be scared, because you will be scared probably the whole ride playing this game. You know, like you do meet other characters, Sybil, and a couple other people, but it's just like far and in between, because they'll disappear just like that, and just a lot of crazy. I'll tell you one of the scariest moments in that game for me. I didn't die the first time playing the game. Well, my first playthrough, I got killed on the part when you're in the nowhere area, and you guys remember that refrigerator scene? You guys know what I'm talking about. That refrigerator, when you leave that room, if you don't have that item, I was like, dude, no way. No way. I couldn't believe this happened to me. And yeah, I still remember like that whole moment like it was yesterday. But anyways, guys, Silent Hill 1, definitely a game that's top tier in the series. Now, moving right along to everybody's favorite, Silent Hill Part 2. Silent Hill 2 was a big step up from Silent Hill 1, I gotta admit. You know, with the graphics, and even you could say the storytelling as well, and then maybe even you could say voice acting as well. It's everybody's favorite Silent Hill game, but it's not mine. You know, like I enjoyed it when it first came out. I mean, I went through this game multiple times. It's probably the Silent Hill game I actually played the most out of everything, because I wanted to get all the endings too. It's got some really crazy endings. Of course, I got the water ending the first time, which like, But then I got the leave ending, which is considered the best ending, and I believe the canon ending as well. Lots of interesting characters in that game. My favorite being Eddie. Eating pizza in the bowling alley. That scene was hilarious, and the whole him talking about what he did to the dog and its owner, and that was not supposed to laugh at that part, but you know, like when he said he shot that dude in the leg and said the guy cried more than a dog, I was laughing when I first heard that. It just cracked me up.
Then he came after me. I shot him too, right in the leg. He cried more than the dog.
But Silent Hill, you know, basically, you know, you're trying to find out what happened to this man's wife, and it is some twisted stuff, man. It is twisted when you find out the reveal in this game. So I think that's what stuck with a lot of people. And actually, Silent Hill 2 is getting remade. I don't think it should have got remade over the first game. The first game deserves the remake out of all of them, but I think these companies want to play it safe. Silent Hill 2 is like considered the best in the series with people, so that's the one they wanted to remake. But Silent Hill 2. Pyramid Head and all his fear of stalking you. It's got to go in the essential list too. It is a top tier game in the Silent Hill series, and I think we all knew that. You know, so it's a very good game. It's a very good game. I still prefer the first one over it, but Silent Hill 2 is definitely a top tier game. Moving on to the next game in the series, Silent Hill 3 is freaking awesome, and it's a direct sequel to Silent Hill 1, so I was very happy about that. Now, you play as a woman named Heather, and Heather is such a cool protagonist. I actually love playing through the game with her. She had some funny scenes, stuff, dialogue she said. Her and Douglas when they first meet each other was, to me, just made me laugh. But Silent Hill 3, out of all the games in the series, to me, was a game that really got to the point. You know, like you just, the game didn't overstay its welcome and kept you on edge the whole time. An amazing game. Some people may consider it short, but I think it's a perfect length, and it really picks up like the loose ends that Silent Hill 1 left behind. Some scary scenes in this game. One of the ones I'll never forget was the when you're in a haunted house and you go through all these little weird traps in the haunted house, but at the end there's this weird hallway and there's a red light chasing you, and it's so scary looking because you got to keep running, and like there's like doors that are fake or whatever like that, and it takes up time. You got to like try to find the exit before that thing gets you, because if it gets you, it's a wrap. So that was a terrifying scene. Another one was when Heather is in the restroom and the reflection stops moving and the whole room starts to become cursed. And I remember yelling at the TV trying to get out of the room because the door is locked. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And then the pause button wasn't working. I was like, what is this, dude? Like, this is crazy. It was just a twisted scene and everything like that. So stuff like that in Silent Hill 3 really was pretty awesome to me. And I don't know how other people feel about it, but it's another game. It's my favorite in the series. So of course, it's got to go in the essential list. It's top tier game. I mean, it's my favorite Silent Hill game, so it could be nowhere else. So, but anyway, Silent Hill 3, if you have not played this one, direct sequel to Silent Hill 1, if fans are looking for tied up story ends to the first game, you could get them in Silent Hill 3. Now, Silent Hill 4, The Room. This originally wasn't a Silent Hill game. It was originally just called The Room, but companies want to play it safe because a new IP is kind of risky even in the PS2 era. So they decided to slap the Silent Hill a name on it. And, maybe that helped it a lot. I don't know. But this one, to me, was definitely going to be a different game because the way it's structured. Your hub in the game is the room, pretty much. You're locked in a room, and you can't leave. You're locked. Obviously, you're locked in or whatever like that. But the room gets cursed as you play through the game. So I remember you had to put these candles around in certain areas to stop the curse from happening. It was just very twisted. But this game has some crazy plot twists, and I wasn't really expecting that. But how you actually get out of the room, well, you can actually see, you look out your apartment window, you can actually see people, what they're doing, different things, whatever like that. There's this one girl, the first girl you meet, you can see her going into the subway, whatever like that. And then there's a hole in your bathroom that you could crawl through. And you end up in the subway, you meet her, you're trying to save her life because the ghost, I'm not going to go too much into the story with this one, but it's pretty twisted. And the only problem with this game for me was that the backtracking is horrible. Like, Silent Hill 4 has some of the worst backtracking in the series. I mean, I almost would recommend people use a Game Shark so you can have certain items in your inventory so you want to go back to certain areas because it just takes up too much time. But originally would have been a shorter game, which would have been fine, but companies want to have these games be a certain length or whatever like that. So it is what it is. But Silent Hill 4, I'm going to put this one in the good tier. It's a good game. It's a good game, but aside from it being like that backtracking, it's pretty damn horrible. But it's got to go in that tier. So next game in the series, we got it 3 years later. Silent Hill Origins. So before Silent Hill Part 1. This game started off really well for me. Originally came out on the PSP, and I can say, I think the story in this one was pretty decent, I would say. But for me, it was more the beginning and then towards the end where the game really picked up for me. I remember the scene towards the end when you're at the hospital, and then I think Cheryl, or the girl, I forgot her, yeah, Cheryl, let's call her Cheryl, Alyssa, let's call her Alyssa, sorry. Alyssa, the town starts transforming behind her because she has that freaking item, and you have to run from her. It's such a twisted scene. It's crazy looking, like it tripped me out, but it got pretty eerie towards the end. But overall, Silent Hill Origins, I only played it like a couple times through. So because the more the games I play, the more times I play, the more I like them, obviously. But I played that one probably 2 or 3 times, so I'm going to put that one in the good tier. It's a good game. It's a good game, even if you play the PS2 version, which I feel like is too dark, but I think the developers, because this was the first game that wasn't released by Team Silent, I believe, and I think they did a good job with what they were trying to create. So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So, all right, next game in the series, we have Silent Hill Homecoming, which they were going to call Silent Hill 5, but thankfully they changed that. Yeah, you got to be careful when you add numbered entries to certain titles, because if the game is subpar, this is it's like ugh. But Silent Hill Homecoming. So when I first played this game, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to fight back. I think the combat system in this game was pretty awesome, at least for me. But it was weird in certain points because certain areas were too long. Like, it's like, I don't know, just dragged on or whatever like that. It's very, very just like, I don't know, like off-putting, I would say. But I was interested in the story in Shepherd's Glen, trying to find out what happened and everything. One of the most memorable moments for me was when you finally meet Doc Finch. And Doc Finch is like, he was allegedly some kind of hero or whatever like that, but when you meet him, he's pitiful as hell. And there is a doll that you hand him, and when you show him that doll, it's like, dude, the monster that you fight after what happens to him is like nightmare fuel. Like it is twisted, and I'll never forget that scene. Silent Hill Homecoming did some really cool things, like the transformation of the Silent Hill town. They really caught it like the movie did. I thought was really good. The first time the town transforms, and at least in front of you, I thought that was pretty badass. But Silent Hill Homecoming, I think it missed the mark on some stuff. Though I liked a lot of stuff, I think it missed the mark, and I hated that they added Pyramid Head into it. It was like no reason to kind of bring him in. They kind of I think they called him the Boogeyman or something like that. But it's like, I don't know. They were just trying to capitalize off Silent Hill 2 in this game to be safe. So Silent Hill Homecoming and the endings too, I gotta say it's okay. It's an okay game. It could have been better, but it wasn't living up to that Silent Hill, what it should be, And no salt on the creators of that game. I know they were trying to create something cool, but I feel at some points it was rushed, unfortunately. And yeah. So next game in the series, what are we gonna? I feel like I'm going in order, but I don't know. I just kind of like. I think the next one after that one was Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Yeah, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. This is a remake of the reimagination of Silent Hill Part 1. And I thought this game was really cool. Now, the problem that people had with this game was that you couldn't fight back. You pretty much had to run from every enemy, which, was pretty crazy when you got to those run sequences. But I thought it was a pretty clever game, how they put it together. I enjoyed how the game kind of would just analyze how you're playing it. I forgot what the system was called, but however you played the game and what they would do is kind of profile how you played the game, and that would get you a certain ending and everything like that. Now, my first time playing, I wanted to go for a certain ending, which I'll tell you guys about in a second. But I thought the game was pretty well, it did a pretty good job how it profiled you. And I thought how it came together at the, towards the end with a certain character. I thought the reveal was freaking awesome. I couldn't believe that. That was so cool. The game doesn't get enough credit. It is become really a rare game, especially on PS2 and the PSP versions. I think the Wii one is still still a decent price. But the definitive version is the Wii version, but nobody wants to play with the Wii remote usually, so the PS2 version or PSP one is usually preferred just for controls alone. But Silent Hill Shattered Memories had a lot of twists, a lot of good things about it. I just think people didn't like it because there was no combat, but I was totally fine with it. I love the environments, graphics. I like how things would kind of instead of the fog, things freezing over would show you that you're going into the other world. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. Overall, I think this was a good game. Good game. I gotta put it up here. I hope that people get to play this one. I know it's a bit expensive or whatever like that, but yeah, definitely Silent Hill Shattered Memories has got to go in the good tier. Now, next game in the series, I believe, was Silent Hill Downpour. I know a lot of people don't really care for this game, and I didn't know that until years later. When I finally got to play it, I enjoyed it. You know, I thought Silent Hill Downpour was a pretty good game. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't like looking at like certain things like graphical tears and like performance issues like that. I was just because a lot of games have that stuff. Some people just don't really notice them or whatever like that. Especially when you're younger, you don't really give a crap. You know, because there were some issues in the earlier games, but just didn't notice them. But Silent Hill Downpour, I thought it was a solid game. I liked Murphy. You know, I wanted to see what his story was. Yeah, I think it's a really good game in the series. So and even today, well, you know what? It's saying that I haven't really played it. You know, I haven't played it in years. So maybe my opinion will, I don't know, it'll dampen if I play it again. But I thought it was a solid experience. I only have played through it, I think, twice. So, and I even got the comic book for it. They made a manga book for it, like to kind of expand on the officer. I forgot the officer's name in the game that was after Murphy, and she was terrifying. Like, you guys remember that bus scene where Murphy's like looking out the window and he looks up forward and she's already looking at him? The way, like, that killer look she gave him was like, oh man, she's gonna be trouble. But yeah, there's a comic book based off of what her events in Silent Hill, which is interesting. I picked that up a couple years back. It's an interesting book. But Silent Hill Downpour, it did have some stuff that they probably should have cut out, like the whole intro scene where you're fighting the inmate. They probably should have made that a cinematic instead of letting you play that part, because it's just it's kind of off-putting, I would say. But and then also the enemies, the police cars, that they were kind of funny. But anyways, Silent Hill Downpour, I'm gonna go ahead. Probably controversial for a lot of you guys, but I'm gonna put it in a good tier. It's a good effort. I think it's a good game, and I think it captured the Silent Hill feel. All right, so next game I'm gonna pick here is actually the Silent Hill HD collection, which consists of Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. I think Silent Hill 2 has the original dub and a new dub, and I think Silent Hill 3 just has a new dub, if I can remember right. But anyways, this collection was released kind of broken. If you haven't played the Silent Hill series, I don't know if you would have noticed that, you know, like a lot of the messed up stuff in the game, because the game is pretty like horrified, I would say. Like, so certain glitches might look like a part of the world or whatever like that. But compared to the original games, I would say, you know what, man, when you're representing like certain games in the series that are high points in the series, you got to make sure that if you're going to re-release them, it's got to be on point. So I'm going to put Silent Hill HD collection, I'm going to put it in the bad tier. You're better off getting the original games. You know, even with the patches, they didn't even fix the 360 version. That version is unpatched, I believe, for whatever reason. I wouldn't recommend people get this port, even though I have it. All right, so moving right along, the next game on this list, and sorry guys, I fixed a tier list so where you can see the bottom tier, which is never played, but thankfully I can say I played all of these games on this list. So the next game is Silent Hill Book of Memories for the Vita. This was a co-op, up to 4 players online experience. And it definitely was a lot of fun, especially if you were able to get 4 people in there, which was very rare at the time, because I don't think the Vita was a really hot seller back then, so a lot of people didn't have one. But anyways, this Silent Hill game is what you would call a dungeon crawler, I would say, a fighting dungeon crawler. And pretty much you would have you would do objectives, then go back to the beginning point, and then start your next story mission, I would say. Like they were based off certain characters. Each character had like maybe 4 or 5 missions for that certain story arc. And it really followed the Silent Hill lore, I would say. You know, there were creepy stories once you revealed all the details, and the game had multiple endings. Now, I played this game co-op with my buddy, the Retro Gaming Maniac, years ago. Had fun playing it. We got stuck on one of the bosses, and we never played it again, unfortunately. But I thought it was a good experience. I just think it's more, you'll have more fun playing co-op with this game. But definitely a Silent Hill game I thought was a good attempt. So I'm going to put Silent Hill Book of Memories in the good category. A lot of people give it a bad rap because it's not like your traditional survival horror game, but it still has that Silent Hill creepiness to it and scary story, I would think. But anyways, moving right along, Silent Hill, the arcade game, which I think a lot of people have not played. They don't even know it exists. It came out in arcades. Gun-con game, like similar to something like House of the Dead, on the level of House of the Dead too, by the way. Just want to put that out there. Good co-op game. So I would say this one is this one's got to go in the good tier. I had fun playing this one. So I was hoping it would get ported to a system eventually, like the Wii, but it never did. But maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe they'll do some kind of like a legit Silent Hill collection. I don't know. We'll see. But Silent Hill, the arcade game, definitely a good game. Now, next game here, a lot of people don't know this got an English translation, but Silent Hill, the novel for the Game Boy Advance, got an English translation. And this is based off the first Silent Hill game. You get to play as Sybil Bennett and Harry Mason. There was a third character via DLC, but that information got lost, so they were able to create this version without that, unfortunately. But still, if you want to know more about Silent Hill Part 1 and what happened with Sybil's side of the story, it's pretty cool to check this one out. Not my personal favorite because I'm not trying to read a visual novel of a Silent Hill game. It's just like, man, like, it's creepy. It's very creepy. But I'll put this one in the okay tier. If you like visual novels, you could probably rank it higher. But me, not on the Game Boy Advance, not trying to like play no visual novel, especially not this late in the game. Now, the last game on our list, Silent Hill, The Short Message. So I'll say this about this game. I thought the sequences, like the chase sequence, were pretty good in this game. The story, just boring to me. I did not care about the main character. She's no Heather Mason, unfortunately, but she's going through her drama. And the way the story was put together, I don't know. It's just too weird. I was like, I'm not following. And then at the same time, you don't care. Like when I thought, like when the first thing was over, like the first story arc, I thought like, okay, cool, the game's over. But no. Reset, you're alive again, and you got to go through it again. Just things are different. Wasn't my cup of tea, I'm sorry. So I got to put this game in the bad tier. So, yeah, that is my Silent Hill list. I know you guys are probably thinking about PT. I never got to play PT, so if I did, it would be in the non-play tier, but I don't have the icon for it. So there's the story on PT. But yeah, this is my Silent Hill tier list, and it's the best one ever. I don't want to hear anything else about it. No, I'm just kidding. You guys will say what you want. But I think this is pretty legit Silent Hill list. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching The Radical One, and I will see y'all later.